The night Area Vale gave the Alpha King a fake number, she thought the worst thing that could happen was an awkward text that never came. She was wrong. The pub smelled like spilled beer, cheap perfume, and something darker. Something wild that made her skin prickle the moment she stepped inside. She felt it before she saw him. The way the laughter died. The way every head subtly bowed. The way her pulse suddenly stopped obeying her. The Alpha King was watching her. Cale Nightborn didn't smile when he approached. He didn't need to. Power clung to him like a living thing, heavy and undeniable, pressing into her lungs with every step he took closer. When he spoke, his voice slid under her skin and settled there, dangerous and intimate. She lied to him without blinking. A fake smile, a fake number, a clean escape, or so she thought. Because alphas don't chase numbers. They chase scents. Hours later, in the safety of her locked room, Aria was already halfway out of her jacket when she heard it. The soft click of the lock turning from the inside. The air shifted. Heat coiled. Her heartbeat thundered. Behind her, a familiar voice growled low and certain. "You shouldn't have lied to me, little moon." And that was the moment Aria learned the truth. Some destinies don't knock. They break the door down. Title. She gave the Alpha King a fake number at the pub. He tracked her scent to her room and locked the door the night that changed everything. The pub was loud, sweaty, alive. Bass thumping through wooden floors, laughter spilling like liquor. And the sharp scent of alcohol tangled with something deeper. Wolves, hidden, dangerous, watching. She didn't belong here. Area Vale knew that the moment she stepped inside the Red Fang, a pub infamous for being neutral ground between humans and shifters. Her boots stuck slightly to the floor. Neon lights blood red and gold across her black leather jacket. She adjusted it nervously, fingers brushing the silver crescent pendant at her throat. Her mother's last gift. Just one drink, she told herself. In and out. That's when the room shifted. Not the music, not the lights. The air, a sudden stillness rippled outward, like the forest going silent before a storm. Every wolf in the pub stiffened. Every instinct screamed alpha. Aria felt it too, an invisible pressure rolling over her skin, warm and terrifying, curling down her spine. She turned slowly, and saw him. He stood near the bar, impossibly tall, broad shoulders straining beneath a dark coat. His presence swallowed the space around him. Black hair fell carelessly over sharp brows, and his eyes. God, his eyes were molten gold, glowing faintly in the dim light. The Alpha King, everyone knew him, Cale Nightborn, ruler of the northern clans, ruthless, untouched, unmated. And right now, he was staring straight at her. Aria's breath hitched. "Nope," she whispered, already backing away. Too late. Cal smelled her. The world narrowed to a single truth the moment her scent hit him. Wild, moon-kissed, threaded with something ancient. His wolf slammed against his chest, roaring. "Mine." He crossed the room in seconds. "Drink," he said, voice low, rough like gravel dragged over silk, setting a glass in front of her. "You look like you need one." Aria swallowed. Up close, he was worse. Heat radiated from him. Power pressed into her lungs. "I'm good," she lied. "I don't mix well with crowds." His gaze flicked to her throat. Her pulse jumped. "Neither do I," he murmured. She laughed nervously. "Then why are you here?" A corner of his mouth lifted. "Because fate is cruel." Red flag, huge red flag. They talked, somehow, about nothing, about everything. His voice wrapped around her senses, his attention suffocatingly intense. When he leaned closer, her skin tingled where he wasn't touching her. This was bad, dangerous. So when he finally asked, "Your number," she didn't hesitate. She recited 10 digits she'd memorized years ago. A fake, clean safe. Cale typed it in, eyes never leaving hers. "Good," he said softly. "I'll call." She smiled sweetly, stood, and walked away on legs that barely worked. 3 hours later, Aria locked her apartment door behind her, heart still racing. "That was stupid," she muttered, kicking off her boots. She barely made it 2 steps inside when, click, the lock turned. Her blood froze. A familiar scent flooded the room, pine, smoke, and raw alpha dominance. "You gave me a fake number," Cale said calmly behind her. She spun. He stood inside her apartment. The door was locked, her pulse thundered. "How did you?" "I tracked your scent," he replied, eyes glowing brighter now. "Across 6 blocks. Up 3 flights of stairs." She backed away until her shoulders hit the wall. "That's illegal," she whispered. His gaze dropped to her lips. "So is lying to an Alpha King." Silence stretched, thick, electric. "I'm not gonna hurt you," he said, quieter now, something dangerous and restrained beneath the words. "But you need to tell me why your wolf is screaming my name." Her heart stuttered. "I don't have a wolf," she said. His expression changed. Shock. Recognition. Hunger. "That," he murmured, stepping closer, "is impossible." Outside, thunder rolled. Inside, destiny locked the door. The scent that shouldn't exist, the room, felt too small for him. Aria could feel it. The way Cale's presence pressed against the walls, against her like the air itself had learned to bow. Her apartment had always been her safe place. Tonight it felt like a cage. "You're shaking," Cale said. His voice was different now. Lower, controlled, like a blade kept in its sheath by sheer will. "Because you broke into my room." Aria snapped, though her voice wavered. "Lock the door. And now you're staring at me like you're impossible," he finished. Thunder cracked outside, rattling the window panes. Moonlight spilled through the curtains, silvering the room and her skin. Kale inhaled sharply. Her scent shifted, it deepened. Not human. Arya felt it too, a strange warmth blooming beneath her ribs, a pull she didn't understand, coiling tighter with every second he stood near. I told you, she said, clutching her jacket. I'm not a shifter. I never shifted, never howled, never. You carry the moon in your blood. Kale interrupted, eyes blazing now. And you don't even know it. He stopped a few feet away, not touching. Not yet. That scent, he continued, voice rough. It shouldn't exist without a wolf. And yet there it is, wrapped around mine like it's always belonged there. Arya swallowed hard. You're wrong. Kale laughed once, bitter and breathless. I have ruled for 120 years. I know every law of our kind. His gaze dropped her pendant, the silver crescent. You're hiding something, he said. And so is that necklace. Her hand flew to it instinctively. No. His jaw tightened. Remove it. Fear, fear, fear. I said no. The air snapped. Kale's wolf surged, golden eyes flaring brighter as the lights in the apartment flickered. The Alpha King stepped closer, then stopped himself mid-stride, fists clenched so tightly his knuckles whitened. I'm trying very hard, he growled, not to take it. Her heart pounded. Then don't. Oh, silence. Heavy, charged, slowly, painfully. Kale exhaled and stepped back. I locked the door to protect you, he said, quieter now. Not trap you. From what? She whispered. From me. That honesty cracked something in her chest. She slid down the wall, knees giving out, and sat on the floor. The night's adrenaline finally crashed over her, leaving exhaustion in its wake. Kale crouched across from her, careful to keep distance. Your parents, he said gently. What were they? Arya stared at the floor. My mother died when I was 6. She used to tell me stories. About wolves who ruled under the moon. I thought they were fairy tales. And your father? I never knew him. Kale closed his eyes. Then listen to me, he said. There was once a bloodline called the moonbound wolves born dormant, their power sealed until awakened by their true alpha. They her breath caught. That's not real. They were raced, Kale said, hunted, because they could change the balance of power. He opened his eyes and looked at her like the truth physically hurt, and because every moonbound was destined to be an alpha's mate. The word slammed into her. Mate, she echoed. The room shifted, her pendant burned hot against her skin. Kale stiffened. Arya. Too late, the silver crescent cracked. A pulse of raw lunar energy exploded outward, throwing Kale back into the wall. The lights shattered. Wind howled through the apartment though the windows were closed. Arya screamed as pain tore through her veins. Not pain exactly, but awakening, her senses sharpened violently. She smelled rain miles away, heard heartbeats. His. Kale pushed himself up, eyes wide with awe. The seal, he breathed. It's breaking. Arya collapsed forward, gasping. Make it stop. Kale was at her side instantly, hands hovering, afraid to touch. Look at me, he commanded softly. Breathe with me. Their eyes locked. Something ancient snapped into place. The bond, it wasn't complete, but it recognized heat surge between them, invisible threads latching onto bone and soul. Kale groaned, dropping to one knee as his wolf howled inside him, fighting to claim, to mark, to complete what fate had begun. I waited a century, he rasped, and you walked into a pub and lied to me. Despite everything, Arya let out a shaky laugh, then froze. Kyle's gaze had gone dark. Hunger, need, terrifying restraint. I need to leave, he said hoarsely. Before I lose control, don't, she whispered, surprising herself. He looked torn. Then footsteps thundered in the hallway outside. Multiple scents. Pack wolves. Kale stood instantly, fury blazing. They felt the surge, he said. And if they see you like this. The door shook under a heavy knock. Alpha King, a voice called. Open up. Kale turned to Arya, eyes glowing like twin suns. Stay behind me, he growled. From this moment on, your life belongs to the pack. When the pack knelt, the knocking stopped. Silence fell so suddenly it felt wrong, like the world itself was holding its breath. Kale didn't move. Neither did Arya. Then, the door splintered, wood exploded inward as 3 wolves burst through, half shifted, claws extended, eyes glowing with pack fire. The hallway light spilled in behind them, harsh and white against the moonlit chaos of the room. Alpha King, the lead wolf, snarled, nose flaring as Arya's scent hit him. The surge confirmed it. She's awakened. Kale stepped forward. The air bowed. You broke my door, he said calmly. The wolves froze. That calm was worse than rage. She is unclaimed. Another wolf said quickly. By law, she must be brought before the council. Moonbound blood cannot remain unbound. Kale's eyes flared molten gold. By whose law, he asked softly. The lead wolf swallowed. By the old accords. Kale smiled. It was not a kind expression. The old accords were written by cowards who feared power they couldn't control, he said. And you. His gaze snapped to the wolf. Just crossed my threshold without permission. The wolf dropped to one knee instantly. Arya watched, stunned, heart pounding as the reality of it slammed into her. This is real. Kyle lifted a hand, and the pressure in the room intensified. The wolves' ears flattened, their wolves whimpering under the force of his dominance. She stays, Kale said, a pause. Then the lead wolf bowed fully, forehead touching the floor. As you command, Alpha King. Relief flooded Arya so hard her knees almost gave out again. But it didn't last, because the moment the wolves turned to leave, pain ripped through her, she screamed. Moonfire surged out of her like a living thing, silver light tearing through the room, cracking the floor, shattering what little glass remained. The wolves were thrown backward into the hallway like rag dolls. Kale spun. Arya! She collapsed, clutching her chest as power spiraled out of control, raw and wild. The bond, unfinished, burned like an open wound. I can't, she gasped. I can't stop it. Kale was at her side in a heartbeat, arms wrapping around her before he could stop himself. The instant they touched, the bond snapped tighter. Kale roared. Not in pain, in need. His wolf surged forward, no longer willing to wait, no longer willing to obey restraint. Her scent flooded him, moonlight and wildfire, fate and temptation, and every instinct screamed CLAAM. Kale buried his face in her hair, breathing her in like oxygen. Listen to me, he growled against her ear, voice shaking. Your power is seeking balance. It's looking for its alpha. Her hands fisted in his coat. Then take it, she sobbed, because it's tearing me apart. That broke him. Cal's control shattered like glass. He lifted her face, eyes blazing, and pressed his forehead to hers. Say it, he demanded. Say you choose me? I don't know what that means, she whispered. It means, he said, voice rough and reverent, that you stop running. Her heart thundered, everything in her. Human, wolf. Moon, answered him. I choose you, she said. The world howled, the bond ignited fully, silver and gold light spiraling around them, carving ancient runes into the floor. Kale bit down hard on his own arm, blood spilling, and pressed the wind to her lips. Drink, he commanded, eyes locked on hers. Anchor yourself to me. She hesitated only a second, then obeyed. The moment his blood touched her tongue, the storm stilled. Her power settled, coiling instead of raging, wrapping around Kyle's like it had always known where it belonged. The wolves in the hallway dropped flat to the ground. Every single one. Kale pulled Arya against his chest as the final surge rippled outward, shaking the building, the city, the hidden world beneath it. When the light faded, silence returned. Arya slumped against him, exhausted. Kale held her like something sacred. You're bonded now, he said softly. Not Mark not claimed, but recognized. She looked up at him. So what happens now? His gaze darkened, not with hunger this time, but with certainty. No, he said. The council will come. And when they do, his lips curved into a dangerous smile. They will kneel. Outside, wolves howled across the city, not in challenge, in submission. The truth the Alpha King buried the council arrived before dawn, not with sirens, not with noise, with silence the kind that creeps under doors and settles into bones. Arya woke to it. Her eyes snapped open as pale gray light filtered through the cracked window. She was wrapped in warmth, solid, protective. Kyle. His arm was a steel bar around her waist, his breathing slow but alert. Even in sleep, the Alpha King never fully rested. Kale, she whispered. His eyes opened instantly. They're here, he said. Her stomach tightened. How do you know? Because the city just stopped breathing. Minutes later, they stood on the rooftop of the building. Wind tugged at Arya's hair as figures emerged from the shadows below. 12 elders cloaked in black and bone, wolves old enough that the moon itself seemed to recognize them. The High Council at their center stood Elder Morvain, ancient, sharp-eyed, his cane carved from the spine of an extinct alpha. You defy us openly now, Kale Nightborn, Morvain called, sheltering a moonbound, bonding her without sanction. Kale stepped forward, pulling Arya subtly behind him. I didn't bond her, he said coldly. Fate did. Murmurs rippled through the elders. Arya felt it then, the pressure of their gazes probing, judging. Her skin prickled, her power stirred uneasily, responding to threat. You feel it too, don't you? Morvain said, eyes sliding to her. The instability. Moonbound power without full claiming is dangerous. Kale stiffened. Arya frowned. What do you mean full claiming? Silence. Too sharp. Too sudden. She turned slowly to Kyle. What does he mean? Kyle didn't answer. Morvain smiled thinly. Hasn't told you, he said softly. Of course not. Arya's chest tightened. Told me what. The elder raised his cane, tapping it once against the concrete. A moonbound cannot survive bonded but unclaimed for long, Morvain said. Your power will keep growing. It will tear your body apart unless the alpha completes the bond. Her breath caught. Completes how? Kale's jaw clenched. Morvain's gaze sharpened. By marking you, publicly, permanently, as his mate and queen. Arya staggered back a step. Queen, she looked at Kale. You knew this. His silence was answer enough. You knew, she whispered, and you didn't tell me. Kale turned to her, pain flickering across his usually impenetrable face. I wanted you to choose freely, not under fear of death. So you chose for me instead. Her voice broke. You let me walk blind into this. Her power flared, silver light rippling across her skin. The elders tensed. Careful, Morvain warned. She's close to her first transformation. Arya's heart thundered. My what Kale cursed under his breath. Moonbound don't shift like others. Morvain continued. Your first transformation happens only once, in front of witnesses. It declares your place in the hierarchy, and if I refuse, Arya demanded. Morvain's eyes went cold. Then your body will burn itself out within weeks. The words hit harder than any blow. Arya laughed shakily. So that's it. Bond, mark, rule, or die. A Kale stepped closer, voice low and fierce. I would never force you, but you already did, she said softly. Something fractured between them. The wind howled. Then, pain exploded through Arya's spine. She screamed as silver fire ripped through her veins, bones shifting, power surging violently. She dropped to her knees, gasping, claws tearing through her fingertips as moonlight wrapped around her like chains. It's starting, Morvain said grimly, uncontrolled. A KL was at her side instantly. Arya, look at me. Fight it. I can't, she cried. It's too much? Her shadow twisted, elongating, warping, wolf and woman overlapping, fighting for dominance. The elders stepped back in alarm. She's stronger than predicted, one whispered. Kale made his choice. He stood turning to the council, eyes blazing brighter than the rising sun. You want a public declaration? He roared. You'll get one. He dropped to one knee before Arya. The Alpha King, kneeling, gasps echoed across the rooftops. Arya Vale, Kale said, voice carrying with ancient authority. I offer you my name, my throne, my blood, not because the council demands it. His gaze softened, locking onto hers, but because I choose you. The bond surged, no longer painful, but answered. Arya's transformation halted mid-chaos, silver light stabilizing, shaping instead of destroying. Her wolf's eyes, luminous and vast, met Kyle's through hers. The city shook as wolves everywhere felt it. A queen being born. Morvain stared in horror. You've just rewritten the laws. Kale rose slowly, pulling Arya into his arms. Good, he said. Arya rested her forehead against his chest, exhausted, but alive, and finally understanding this wasn't just a romance, it was a war.